welcome to the second Fragments Silicon review for the week. So, up next is I'm not sure exactly how to classify this because it's kind of it's in this weird classification. It's Shovel Knight Torment. Um, so yeah, ordinarily I'd say this is an I guess the closest thing is it's a semi-standalone expansion pack. That is to say, in case you don't know how this works, if you bought Shovel Knight all the way from back in the day to, say yesterday, you get the entire package. Indeed. Shovel Knight has a package now called Treasure Trove.
Yeah, the vanilla game's been upgraded from just Shovel Knight to Shovel Knight Treasure Trove.
Well, the base game is now called Shovel of Hope. Yeah, they're mirroring A New Hope there, in case you didn't get the joke. But now, Shovel Knight Specter of Torment can be purchased on its own.
Torment.
Yeah, now, maybe that was a complaint from Plague Knight's expansion that you had to have the full game in order to have it. But Specter Knight's campaign you can buy on its own, and we'll get into the pricing later.
You can also buy all the other ones now on their own now that if you haven't bought any Shovel Knight before. Although if that's the case, what's wrong with you?
Really?
Right, but right, but this was like specifically advertised as the first expansion you could buy on its own, on release day.
So you're telling me that it's a standalone game, but it's also part of the complex.
Yes.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, they're changing the mechanics for this because there is so much more in the game now than there initially was.
I don't care if the joke falls flat. I ain't leaving. That's for
I got the joke.
Yeah, it's also they change up the mechanics for all of the expansions. Plague Knight. Hell, I'd say Specter Knight is closer to Shovel Knight than Plague Knight was. Plague Knight was
gameplay or content.
Gameplay.
Well, he's melee focused instead of chucking bombs focused.
Right. That's what I'm getting at. It's like, believe me, there are some profound differences between Specter Knight and Shovel Knight, but they don't feel as different as Plague Knight felt.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you had a good handle, no pun intended, on Shovel Knight, you'll be able to get into Specter Knight's gameplay pretty easily. Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, we're still here.
Okay. Anyway, so Specter Knight's let's see. His gameplay is based a lot off of slashing.
Yeah. Shovel Knight is pogo sticks, Plague Knight is bombs. Specter Knight, as you know if you've played the game, his weapon is a scythe, and like Plague Knight, he's not as good of a jumper as Shovel Knight, but he can swing his scythe in midair and travel along with it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of the things that's a little bit awkward because there are certain things in the game that you can slash, and these are indicated by a upwards or downwards slash mark on the item while you're in the air and can do that. The thing is that it's based very strictly, to the pixel perfect, on whether you're above or below the thing, and you're falling while you're doing this, so it can change unexpectedly, or you can mistime it and slash downwards into a pit when you meant to slash the lamp upwards so you could get across it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But again, this is something that takes some getting used to.
Yeah, it's also it can interrupt your rhythmic progression.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you'll hit the button. Sometimes you can't hit the button immediately after you slash jump, or else you're going to slash down, and you're going to slash right into a pit. This has happened to me.
Yeah, it happened to me way more than I care to in the tutorial level.
Same here.
It's one of those.
Specter Knight also has kind of a weird wall climb ability. It's not like how wall jumping works in most games. Because when you jump up a wall, if you continue to hold towards the wall and up, you will climb up it a few steps and then fall. And if you jump at any time, you will spring pretty far away from the wall in the other direction. So it's neither a full-on wall climb nor a full-on wall crisscross jump.
Mm-hmm.
So he can do a full-on crisscross jump between two walls.
Yeah, he can't jump. He can't single wall jump at all. There's no way you could ever do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Also, he can slash enemies, and that comes into play.
Yeah, enemies and some other objects, and like every other character in Shovel Knight, you get new things from every stage you go through.
Yeah, what he gets are called curios, and the way they're unlocked is pretty unique. So, like, you don't have to, like, you can either unlock them via the red skulls. I'm not sure. Like, you can also buy them for gold. I never bought a curio for gold.
When can you buy them for gold?
You've got to restore the other Specter thing.
Oh, I don't think he sells them to you for gold. He upgrades them.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm thinking. He upgrades.
Yeah.
But yeah, after every level you beat, the guy called Red, who is a red skeleton in a cloak, because the hub world of this game, unlike Plague of Shadows, which was mostly the same stages with a different hub world, the story here is that you're Specter Knight, who is the Enchantress's first minion, and you're trying to gather all the other knights to form the Order of No Quarter, so it's a prequel. And your hub world is the Enchantress's castle. And the stages, there are some parts that are similar, but they're, by and large, completely different, and the boss fights are very different.
I hate to say it, too, but I just got the joke with Red there. He looks like a hobo. He's a red skeleton. Red skeleton. Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, anyway, I got distracted. The curios, after you beat a stage, you can talk to him, and he will trade you a new curio after each stage for red skulls, of which there are 10 in each stage, I think. And when you get them, he doesn't give them to you. He brings you to the location where they are, where you collect it, and then have to use it to get out.
Yeah,
it kind of feels like those little intermission areas in Shovel Knight where you could use a specific item to travel through it.
Yeah, the training caves where there's like a treasure at the end, and you have to like, if you don't know how to use the digging mitts really well, you're going to fall in pits and die in this one.
Yeah, I will say that the curios, by and large, felt a lot less necessary than Shovel Knight's gear.
Yeah, the several of them are just different kinds of ranged attacks. There's one to regain life.
Yeah, believe me, the life regaining ability is the best.
Yeah, pick that one up early.
Agreed. Mm-hmm.
I'm using that right now because I'm a scrub.
Specter Knight is a little bit on the fragile side on account of being undead. Also, he doesn't have life; he has will because he's undead. Which is interesting. It plays into the story segments because while Shovel Knight had those intermission memories where you have to catch Shield Knight, and I don't know what Plague Knight has because I did not play Plague of Shadows enough. Specter Knight has some flashbacks to what he was before he became Specter Knight, because he was not always a ghosty man in armor.
Plague Knight's story was focused around Mona, the gameskeeper under the town.
That makes sense.
Yeah, Specter Knight, this is more like what he was before he became Specter Knight. And you even get playable parts of his past.
Yeah, they're like full stages, not just like one screen. Mm-hmm. Like small stages, but still. And this is, I won't spoil anything about this because I imagine that's kind of the main thing of his plot, but his abilities didn't change as much as I thought. Specter Knight's only way of breaking the blocks that Shovel Knight can shovel through, usually, from above, is by jumping off of them and then they automatically break. I assumed that was something to do with how he was undead, but no, he did that when he was alive too.
I will say a neat touch I found is that living Specter Knight, let's call him, had a unique weapon.
Yeah, it's a swordy thing instead of a...
I mean his caltrops.
Oh yeah, he has a unique, instead of having all of these curios. He does seem to be a treasure hunter, and I think it seems like the phase locket that you get for beating him or in his stage as Shovel Knight is relevant to his story.
Yeah. Full disclosure, I don't think any of us actually beat the game.
Yeah, the controls in this, it's not easy. It's still harder than original Shovel Knight, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'd say it's harder than Shovel of Hope, but definitely not as hard as Plague of Shadows.
Plague of Shadows is really weird because you have to deal with, being a ranged character in a game where that's not how the game was originally designed. This one, you're a melee character, so it's more familiar, and the stages were completely redesigned for him.
Yeah, it's like... Also worth noting is the bosses. The bosses have taken a steroid injection, and they are a lot tougher than they were in the original Shovel Knight.
Oh yeah, it's funny when you get to the end of the beginning, the tutorial stage. It's Black Knight, and at first he fights the same, but then after you do a few hits of damage to him, he summons his friggin' terror pin, which is like this black spiky riding turtle thing that charges back and forth.
Yeah. Yeah, and another example is King Knight. So King Knight, he will shuffle around the floor, and sometimes...
which can be bad because pits are still instant death, as are spikes.
Not necessarily.
Though there's a cloak that fixes that and just makes you take damage instead.
Yeah. Pro tip: get the Cloak of Clemency.
Yeah, I have that on right
Is
now.
that the cheapest one?
It's kind of ugly, but its ability is really useful.
Yeah, I'm like... Yeah, if you die if you go into a pit or spikes with the Cloak of Clemency on it, you will not die. You will respawn. You will lose health and darkness.
How much health?
About 3 will blocks.
Actually, I think it's 4, because if you don't have full darkness and normal health, you'll die immediately.
Mm-hmm. No, if you have less than. If you have less than full darkness, it'll go down, but it'll. Mind you, this might change as you get more darkness.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Which is what he uses to power his special abilities.
Yeah. So the point is,
darkness is darker than your darkness.
Well, darkness is how he uses his curios.
Yeah.
Specter Knight, and instead of they're the other thing you so there are treasure chests in the regular levels, and in those treasure chests, instead of money or relics or the curios,
well, there will be money in treasure chests, but there are also pots that you break that have fire inside them that gives you an upgrade to...
The point of order is there are special treasure chests that will either give you more will or more darkness. That's where you get your health and magic expansions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's not random. It's based on which level it is. One of the NPCs will tell you which levels have the darkness upgrades.
Right. And it's also worth noting, if you miss them in stage, they will be available for sale like the relics were with Shovel Knight.
Mm-hmm. Though you can also just go back and get them.
Yeah. I'm honestly, I never missed a chest. I missed some skulls.
Mm-hmm. Specter Knight also has a kind of cool rail grinding ability.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was showing that off a little bit ago.
And there's also one of his other robes lets you rail grind on just the ground.
Yeah. And,
which is probably great for speedrunning, but bad for people like us who are not great at the game and would die a lot if they did that.
Thereabouts. So I suppose we have to talk about the release situation of the game.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a annoyance right now because I was hoping
wonky as all hell.
Yeah, I was really hoping to be able to play this on the 3DS where I played all the other ones, but it's not out on the 3DS yet.
Yeah,
it should be soon, or maybe it did just come out today or something. But it should be. It's a release date on the 3DS in regions not called Japan is TBD April, so within the next couple weeks, hopefully. Yeah, but it's out on I think everything else except for other portables.
No.
No.
Yeah. So here's the release date situation as it is of time of recording. It's out on the Switch. It came out first on the Switch. It was a 1 month exclusive on the Switch,
which is sort of appropriate because it was sort of a Nintendo first game.
Yeah.
Though I'm sure that annoyed some people.
Probably, but you know, it wasn't that long of a window. You know. I think the bigger annoyance for for people was if they had the old game, they couldn't get the basic Shovel Knight package on the Switch. You know, they had to rebuy the game basically. You know, it's like if you still have your Wii U and 3DS versions, you will get Specter of Torment for free.
That is true.
I'm guessing that was the trade-off. You know, indeed, I actually got an offer to review the Switch version around the time of release. I had to pass because nobody at the time had a Switch.
I have one now, but I didn't then, and Adam didn't know I was getting one.
You know, and it wouldn't have helped because by the time you got a Switch, which was just a few days ago, I'm like, you know, that review window has passed because you know we all played the PC version because the expansion is out for every PC store, you know, and its most recent release was the Japanese Wii U and 3DS version. You know, why Japan? Because Nintendo handles that one. Like Nintendo actually published those versions in Japan, so that's something they worked out. As far as every other platform, it's April TBD. It's not out for the Wii U, 3DS, PlayStation 4, Vita, PlayStation 3, Xbox One, or Fire TV.
That's weird. Though I guess it should be soon.
Yeah. Rollout's been a bit slow, and we don't know if it's going to be all at once. I'm guessing that's what they're aligning here. They want to align 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 platforms, possibly at once. So I can see why that's a bit of a task. But yeah, unfortunately, for I'd say the majority of copies of Shovel Knight, the expansion still isn't available, and we don't exactly know when they're coming out on other platforms. You know,
aside from shouldn't be too long.
Yeah, it's like you know, there are a couple weeks left in the month, so it should be out soon. You know, hopefully. And right, and also the pricing situation. So you can pick up Specter of Torment on its own for $10, or you can pick up the Shovel Knight Treasure Trove for $25. Yes, with the release of this game, the price went up $5. I think it did that when Plague of Shadows came out as well. And I suppose the question centers around, should you buy it standalone, or should you buy, you know, I'll say it right here, just buy the entire package.
Yeah, it's Shovel Knight. You should play the whole thing.
Yeah.
You should pretty much have to get the whole thing, not just because, but because you should.
Yeah, and
It
also
just makes sense that way.
Additionally, I don't recommend this be the first Shovel Knight you play, because it's not.
I would do Shovel Knight and then do Specter Knight and then work your way up to Plague Knight.
Yeah. That's about where I'd put it. And that's about, where I put my quality of enjoyment. Like, I didn't enjoy this as much as the original Shovel Knight campaign, but I definitely enjoyed it more than Plague of Shadows.
Yeah, Plague of Shadows is I mean, the story is nice enough, and it's not bad by any means, but it's a little bit. I think it suffered partially from the fact that they weren't ready to do entire new stages, and therefore you were playing through the existing stages with a very different power set.
That is something I noticed, that Specter Knight definitely had a lot more tailored around him than Plague Knight did.
Yeah, they put stuff all over the place for him to slash through to get certain distance of jumps and stuff.
Also worth noting, the music. So the music has been entirely remixed by the original composer, no less.
Which it was good to start with. It's still good.
Yeah, it's still good, but I'll be honest, I didn't care for any of the remix tracks.
You like the originals better?
Yes. That's probably just a personal preference thing. But yeah, they did a lot with this expansion pack. And, to the point where I can see why they sold it on its own. But once again, I still say, yeah, it may be $15 more, but you're probably going to end up buying that anyway. Because, if you buy Specter Torment on its own, it's the Shovel Knight prequel. Also worth noting, this isn't the last of Shovel Knight.
No, we are still waiting for Shovel Knight's thing to be determined that presumably involves the word king.
Yes. Also, Shovel Knight, the Treasure Trove Pack, saw a bunch of additions with the release of Specter of Torment. Body swap mode.
Oh, yeah, I have to try that out.
Yeah. Now, these are expansions that only work in the original Shovel Knight game. So, body swap mode, that's where...
In Shovel of Hope, you mean?
Yes,
to be clear?
Yes. This is stuff that only works in Shovel of Hope. But, body swap mode. This is where all the characters are gender swapped.
Or, no, not all of them. You can individually select the appearance and pronouns used for each character.
Yes.
So if you want to make female Shovel Knight in love with trans female Shield Knight, go ahead.
I'm like, that's
a thing.
Sounds like a landmine. Let's jump into that one.
Well, no, it's just they were they released a news thing about how they were doing that and how they were doing absolutely everything they could to be very respectful of people of differing genders and such.
I got no problem with that.
I'm trying to remember the other stuff that was added, because it wasn't body swap was definitely the big feature.
I think there are new achievements.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, but no, there was a couple other modes added. It's trying to remember. It's cooperative mode. That's right.
Oh, like the one that they had in that was amiibo based and stuff before.
Yes. The co-op mode, which was previously exclusive to the Wii U version, is now on all versions that have been upgraded to Treasure Trove. I don't think these upgrades have rolled out onto the non-Treasure Trove versions yet.
No, I think it's part of the treasure trove upgrade.
Right. But yes, it's like if you want to play Shovel Knight co-op, you can now and not own a Wii U.
Which I still think everybody should own a Wii U, but that's because I'm a weirdo.
Yes, you are, but you're our weirdo.
Yeah. So what is still Amiibo exclusive is the leveling up mechanic, apparently.
Okay, so it's not everything from that mode, just the overall.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Which that still does. The Custom Knight had some cool stuff, like the Infinite Dagger.
Right, and yeah, and there's now the Shovel Knight Fairy, which is basically will point out treasure chests you may have missed.
Which can be useful because there are a lot of treasure chests in this game, and some of them are pretty well hidden.
Definitely. I'm like, so yeah, there's quite a bit added here. You know, for if you own, if you already own the package, pretty
which you
meaty,
should.
Yeah, pretty meaty free upgrade, I'll say. Yeah, and if you haven't,
I think says a good thing for the game that they're continuing to add value to something that was already pretty good value for its value.
Yeah. Granted, it is out of obligation because they are.
Oh yeah, this was all stuff that was promised, but Kickstarter's delivering everything they promised is starting to be a little bit more of a novelty than it was.
I'm aware of that. And even this is Shovel Knight came out 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think so.
Usually games have an 18-month life cycle. That's not online multiplayer.
Yeah, well, it's it's because these expansion packs are taking so long to develop that this is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're very full-featured expansion packs.
Yeah, well, they're complete reworkings of the game. Like Specter Knight even more so than Plague Knight.
Well, I mean, for all intents and purposes, they could have just copped out and just made them palette swaps of Shovel Knight.
I don't think they could have done that.
Well, they said they weren't going to.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't have gotten away with it very well, but...
Yeah, I think there's still some features, and obviously the last expansion pack featuring King Knight still to be released. And yeah, it's like when that comes out, we will probably review that as well because, well, we've reviewed every other Shovel Knight thing to date. Why not?
Right, and that one is supposed to be like an easy mode, so we'll see how that works.
Oh man, I might actually be able to beat it.
Yeah. So anything else that we need to majorly cover with Specter of Torment here?
Not that I can think of.
All right. So final thoughts.
You should already have this, but if you don't, this is a good addition to it.
It's a good time to get it.
Yeah, I think it's fair to say you should have the base game because if people don't have Specter of Torment, it could be because they are waiting for the Xbox One version or the PlayStation 4 version.
Oh, is base Shovel Knight isn't even out on those?
No, those are. I'm talking about the expansion, Specter of Torment.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So if you don't have specifically this version, you're waiting for your console version then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So. Yeah, hopefully that gets resolved, within the prescribed parameters. But I honestly wouldn't be shocked if some of the versions got delayed into May.
Mm-hmm.
I could definitely see some sort of prioritization, the Xbox One, the PlayStation 4 versions coming out first over, say, the 3DS or Vita versions, and so on and so forth.
I actually forgot they made a Vita version.
Yeah, they did.
That's okay. It's really easy to forget that the PlayStation Vita exists. I mean, I know that's not actually what you said, but we all know what you meant.
Anyway, you were saying... Oh,
no, I was saying, I'm pretty sure a lot of people forgot there was a Vita.
yeah. Hell, there's an Amazon Fire TV version of this.
Damn.
Yeah.
Let me check my calculator real quick. Oh shit, it's there too.
Yeah, Shovel Knight is one of those games that has seen a lot of platforms at this point. And may see, I don't know, more potentially.
Honestly, I would not be at all surprised if it got updated to whatever new platforms.
Yeah. I think my toaster can run this.
Pretty powerful toaster.
Yeah. All right, so I think that'll about do it for Specter of Torment here. Anyway, let's see. First of all, show note. For those of you who might have been waiting for the podcast version of last week's alpha episode, yeah, we couldn't upload that to the TalkShoe site.
Apparently they have this weird thing where they don't like enormous files or whatever.
I don't know how big the file was. Pettyfan, you might be able to illuminate.
The file itself is over 100 megabytes, and that's the size limit of an episode for TalkShoe.
Well, there you go. And we tried splitting that up. No go, and Pettyfan does not know how to decrease the bitrate.
Yeah, at least after the fact. Like, I can do it in OBS, but that would also decrease the video quality as well, so it's something I need to mess with.
Yeah, we're not doing that. I mean, as far as our production is concerned, Twitch, the video stuff is the main, and that's now the legacy. Nice for those who are still listening to the podcast version, but kind of moved to having video as part of the show.
Yeah.
If you're not watching, Twitch or YouTube, you're not getting the full experience because, like Pettyfan usually has usually has either the game we're talking about or the game we're reviewing up playing,
or a trailer or some kind of other material.
Yeah. The point is there are visuals to go with this show now. No, we're not ever going to, we're not moving to the face cams.
Yeah.
Like,
unless they force us to.
Right.
Who they remains to be seen.
Yeah, it's like, I couldn't tell you.
We're just talking heads on the internet, only you'll never see our heads.
Speak for yourself. I'm a rogue AI.
All right, Shodan.
Not that kind of rogue AI. Damn it, that bitch gave us all a bad reputation.
I was going to go with the puppeteer, but whatever works for you.
I'm a rogue AI in that I have lots of ranks in lockpicking.
That's terrible.
Sorry.
Okay. Anyway, the week ahead. Tuesday, April 18th, we have Michael Forsland of Zoink Games on the program. Yeah, I think they're from Sweden. Let me just double check because I've gotten Scandinavian countries mixed up before and Nordic.
Don't worry.
Yeah, they are indeed based in Sweden. And they've got 3 projects in development that we know of. Zombie Vikings, Fae, as in, I think the people of the Fae, even though it's spelled F-E.
Yeah, that's Fae. It's fairy.
Yeah, I see that and I just think the periodic table.
No, it's just meant to be. It's their way of spelling fairy.
And ironically, one of those things does not like the other one.
Anyway, and also Flipping Death, which was recently announced for the Nintendo Switch. That's Tuesday. Wednesday, April 19th, we'll be having Tom Prago of Tonsilus Media on the program again. Last time we had them on the program, we did a whole big retrospective of their 20 years leading up into the tease into what turned out to be The Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess HD. Hopefully enough time has passed where we can talk in depth about that project, because I'm sure there's a lot of interesting tidbits there. You know, not the least of which how Tauntless Media got hooked up with a Legend of Zelda HD remastering.
Yeah, that's not something that normally I would expect to be, shopped out.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, and they also did the porting of Zombie U to the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. They just called it Zombie. From what I understand, as a game, it's all right, but the Wii U version is still the definitive experience, mainly because that was one of the few games that was actually built around the asymmetrical gameplay, and you just can't recreate that on another system. But as far as current projects, they are doing the Wii U versions of Sonic Mania and Rhyme. Two of the bigger third-party titles to come into the platform. So yeah, there's a lot to unpack with that particular interview. And we are slated to have an episode of MSP this week. Sorry that got canceled, but Mac had to finish taxes.
Don't want to piss off the feds.
Right. I'm like, it's especially poignant because, well, we started MSP on April 15th, 2009. So this is the 8th anniversary show.
Ah.
Yeah. We've been doing MSP for a long time. Granted, some of that has been in a point of suspended animation, but, it's still 8 years. Now, and finally, reviews. Next week's reviews are going to be Voodoo Vince Remastered. Played this for a couple of hours. I really can't talk about it in this space. Embargoes. And
stupid embargoes.
Yeah.
Making your Pokemon not able to use items.
Anyway, and
Thank
also
you.
Rain World. Not exactly sure what this is. It's another Adult Swim Games foray. I'm having some. Well, thank you for that.
I'm awake now and having a heart attack.
Okay.
I don't know which priority to take on that.
Yeah. Anyway,
something broke and I don't know what happened.
As I was saying, Miss Q aside, Rain World I'm having some problems with because apparently this game is a lot more resource intensive than I thought, because it won't run when I have a browser open.
That's odd.
And this is on my new computer, so I don't know what's going on there.
This is on my computer that isn't complete and utter crap.
Well, yeah, I just got this thing, so it should be able to handle like a 2D game, but I don't know. It's like I think I'm able to play it without a browser running. I was doing some testing yesterday, and it seemed to run fine then, but more testing is required. Like, this is especially problematic because Rain World, we only got one code for this. I only got one.
So if Adam can't play it, then no one can.
Unless somebody else buys it. Then up to you guys.
Yes.
So, with that in mind, till Tuesday, I wish you good gaming.